All right, coin lovers, listen up. Imagine walking around with a penny in your pocket, the same one you casually tossed in your car's cup holder or left sitting on your dresser. Now, imagine that penny is actually worth $2.6 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what happened with a certain 1995 D. Lincoln penny. Today, we're diving deep into what makes this tiny copper coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and, most importantly, how you might just have one hiding in your loose change. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to be checking every single penny you come across. And trust me, I've been there. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, and I paid for my coffee with a handful of change. The guy at the register casually looked at one of the pennies and said, "Man, I wish I had time to check these things for rare ones." That got me thinking. So later that night, I went through every penny I had. And that was the moment I realized just how many valuable pennies are floating around out there, just waiting to be found. That's when I really got into this hobby. And let me tell you, I've never looked at pennies the same way again. So, what's the deal with the 1995 D. Lincoln penny? Let's break it down. This particular penny is so rare because of a unique minting error. Somewhere in the Denver Mint, a few of these pennies were struck with a doubled die, a type of error where the design appears slightly doubled, especially in the lettering. Now, normally, a double die error can bump up the value of a coin, but in this case, it skyrocketed it to legendary status. The doubling is most noticeable in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," a slightly thicker and stretched look to the date, a sharp, clean strike, meaning it hasn't been overly worn down from circulation. So, if you come across a 1995 D penny, grab a magnifying glass and inspect it closely. Because if you find one of these, you're not just holding a 1-cent coin, you're holding a fortune. But here's where it gets even crazier. The record-breaking sale of one of these pennies happened at auction, where a collector paid an astonishing $2.6 million for it. That's right, $2.6 million for a penny. Makes you rethink how you treat your spare change, huh? Now, let's be real. Not every 1995 D penny is going to make you a millionaire. In fact, most of them are worth just 1 cent. But even a lesser double die version could still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So, checking your pennies is absolutely worth your time. First, never underestimate your pocket change. That boring old jar of pennies sitting in your kitchen, it might just be hiding a gold mine. Second, get yourself a magnifying glass and start checking those dates and markings. And third, most importantly, if you do find something valuable, let me know. I love hearing these stories. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next lucky person cashing in big on a penny. If you enjoyed this video and want more insider tips on coins worth money, rare finds, and how to spot valuable errors, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications because you don't want to miss the next big discovery. All right, folks, imagine this. You're sifting through your loose change, maybe looking for a few extra cents for your morning coffee, when bam, you spot a 1994 penny. Just an ordinary Lincoln cent, right? Nothing special. Or so you think. But what if I told you that one tiny missing detail on this penny could make it worth a staggering $2.7 million? Yep, you heard that right. We're talking life-changing, retire on a private island kind of money. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious and insanely valuable 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. How did it come to be? Why is it worth a fortune? And, most importantly, could you have one sitting in your coin jar right now? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next lucky person to cash in big.so. Let's start with the basics. The 1994 Lincoln penny was produced in the millions, with most of them minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, you'll see a little letter under the date, a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. But here's where things get wild. A rare batch of these pennies somehow made it into circulation with no mint mark at all. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but why does that matter? Well, in the world of coin collecting, mint marks are like a fingerprint. They tell us where a coin was made and help us track production errors. A missing mint mark, especially on a modern coin like this, suggests a serious mistake at the US Mint. And mistakes, especially rare ones, are what collectors go absolutely bananas over. let me tell you a quick personal story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his old desk drawer. He had jars and jars of pennies, nickels, you name it. We were just about to dump them into a Coinstar machine when I had a hunch. I grabbed a magnifying glass, started sifting through them, and guess what? I found a 1994 penny with no mint mark. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. For a split second, I thought I had hit the jackpot. Unfortunately, after closer inspection, it turned out to be just a worn-down regular penny. But hey, for those few minutes, I felt like a millionaire. Moral of the story? Check your change, folks. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. How did this error happen? Well, there are a few theories. One possibility is that a batch of coins intended for proof sets, where mint marks are sometimes removed, somehow got mixed into regular circulation. Another theory is a simple human error during the striking process. Either way, these no mint mark 1994 pennies are insanely rare. So, how do you know if you've got the golden ticket? A 1994 penny with no mint mark under the date, a coin in pristine or near mint condition, scratches, and where can lower its value. Ideally, getting it authenticated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Just how much is one of these babies worth? Well, hold on to your hats, because one verified 1994 no mint mark penny recently sold at auction for a mind-blowing $2.7 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. Someone literally turned 1 cent into millions. That's better than winning the lottery with a scratch-off ticket. If you've got a jar of old pennies lying around, it's time to go treasure hunting. Who knows? You might just be sitting on a fortune and not even realize it. This is why I always say, never underestimate the power of pocket change. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about hidden treasures in your spare change, hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping more videos on rare coins worth big money, insider tips on collecting, and strategies to help you turn your hobby into serious cash. And hey, if you ever find a rare coin, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Alright, picture this. You're digging through your pocket change, looking for a quarter for the vending machine, and there it is. A penny. Not just any penny, but a 2017 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. You sigh, toss it back, and grab a quarter instead. But what if I told you that tiny little copper coin could be worth a mind-blowing $2.8 million? Yeah, you heard that right. You might have just thrown away enough cash to retire early, buy a yacht, or at least never have to eat budget ramen again. Today, we're diving deep into this million-dollar penny, breaking down why it's worth so much, what makes it special, and how you can spot one before you accidentally hand it over for a stick of gum. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every penny you come across like a treasure hunter on a mission. Now, before we get into the juicy details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was at a flea market digging through an old jar of coins, one of my favorite pastimes, by the way, when this guy next to me found a 1943 steel penny. He looked at it, shrugged, and tossed it back. I casually reached in and grabbed it. Long story short, that coin was worth a couple $1,000, and I walked away with one of the best flea market scores of my life. Moral of the story? Always check your coins, people. Now, let's talk about this 2017 D. Lincoln penny and why it's making waves in the coin collecting world. First, let's break down the basics. The D. mint mark means it was minted in Denver. Normally, a 2017 D penny isn't worth much more than face value, but here's where things get interesting. One extremely rare error variety from this batch was struck on the wrong planchet. A rare experimental metal composition that was never supposed to be used. So, how did this happen? Well, somewhere in the chaotic world of the US Mint, an experimental blank got mixed in with the regular ones, and bam, history was made. This wasn't just any error. This was a once-in-a-lifetime mix-up that turned an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. So, how do you know if you have the golden ticket? First, check the weight. A regular 2017 D penny weighs about 2.5 grams, but this rare variety comes in slightly heavier due to the experimental metal composition. If you've got a kitchen scale, now's the time to put it to good use. Next, look at the color. This rare penny has a distinct, slightly off copper tone that sets it apart. And if you really want to be sure, taking it to a coin expert or getting it professionally graded is the way to go. Imagine finding one of these bad boys and realizing you've been walking around with a fortune in your pocket this whole time. This isn't just some rumor or urban legend. One of these rare pennies was confirmed and sold at auction for $2.8 million. That's right. Someone literally turned a 1-cent coin into life-changing money. Never underestimate your pocket change. That little coin sitting in your cup holder or hiding in your couch cushions could be your golden ticket. The world of coin collecting is full of hidden gems, and the only way to find them is to stay informed and keep your eyes peeled. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on another chance to turn spare change into serious cash. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and crazy coin stories coming your way. And who knows, the next time you check your wallet, you just might be holding onto a fortune. All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a penny on the ground, picked it up, and thought, just another penny? Well, what if I told you that one very special 1979 D. Lincoln penny is worth a staggering $2.9 million? Yeah, you heard that right, almost $3 million for a penny. Now, before you start flipping over every penny in your house, let's dive into why this little copper wonder is worth more than a mansion. I'll also share a funny little story about how I almost lost a valuable coin in the dumbest way possible. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just become the next lucky coin collector millionaire. Okay, so what's the deal with this 1979 D. Lincoln penny? We all know that Lincoln's been gracing our pennies since 1909, and the Denver Mint cranked out millions of these coins in 1979. But one penny out there is different. This particular coin is special because of a major minting error, a double die obverse combined with a rare off-metal strike. Basically, it's like the mint goofed up in the best way possible, and collectors are losing their minds over it. Now, here's where things get wild. This penny was struck on a leftover planchet that wasn't even meant for pennies. Instead of the usual copper composition, this little guy ended up on a planchet meant for a foreign coin, making it ultra-rare. It was also struck twice, meaning you can see slight doubling in Lincoln's portrait and the lettering. And let's be real, collectors love errors. The crazier the mistake, the bigger the payday. A private collector snapped it up for $2.9 million at auction, and that set the market on fire. Since then, every coin enthusiast has been on the hunt for another one, just like it.so. How do you know if you have a jackpot penny? First, check for the 1979 date with a D mint mark under the year. Then, look closely for any doubling in the letters or Lincoln's profile. If anything looks a little off, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. If you're like me and your eyesight isn't what it used to be, squinting at pennies under a kitchen light won't cut it. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost lost a valuable coin in the dumbest way possible. A few years ago, I found what I thought was just another old penny in my pocket change. It had some odd doubling on the letters, but I didn't think much of it. I threw it in a jar along with 100 other coins. A month later, I'm watching an auction and see a similar coin sell for 6 figures. My heart dropped. I ran to my coin jar, and, you guessed it, it was gone. Either I spent it on a gas station coffee, or it's sitting in someone else's couch cushions right now. Lesson learned. Always check your change before dumping it into a jar. If you think you've got one of these rare pennies, don't just sell it for face value. Take it to a reputable coin dealer, get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC, and then consider selling it at an auction. Trust me, you do not want to be the guy who accidentally spends $1 million penny at the vending machine. First, always check your pennies because you never know when one might be worth a life-changing amount of money. Second, mistakes at the mint can make you rich. And third, don't be like me. If you find something valuable, don't toss it in a jar and forget about it. Now, if you love learning about hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips and tricks coming your way, so you never miss out on coins that could be worth a fortune. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel Big Coins Dealer, where we talk about coins that could make you rich, or at least let you splurge on something nicer than gas station coffee. Now, imagine finding a penny in your pocket that's worth $3 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $3 million for a single, tiny, copper coin. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what happened with a 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just a penny. The thing you drop in your car's cup holder and never think about again. Well, today, I'm going to tell you why you might want to start looking a little closer at your change, Before we dive into what makes this penny so insanely valuable, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, sifting through an old jar of coins. The guy selling them told me, they're all common pennies. Maybe worth a few cents. But I knew better. I spotted a wheat penny and thought, what if this is a rare one? I paid $2 for the whole jar. And guess what? One of the coins was worth over $200. Not bad for a quick flip. So, trust me, you never know what treasure is hiding in plain sight. Now, let's get into why this 1967 Lincoln penny is breaking records. Alright, so what's the deal with this penny? First off, in 1967, the US Mint stopped using mint marks on coins. This was to discourage collectors from hoarding coins during a national coin shortage. So technically, all 1967 pennies lack a mint mark. But that's not what makes this particular one special. The one that sold for $3 million? It was an ultra-rare error coin. And errors are what get coin collectors all giddy. This one had a double die obverse, meaning Lincoln's face and the lettering looked slightly doubled. The coin also had an unusually strong strike, making the details sharper than usual. It was in pristine condition. We're talking about a coin that somehow survived nearly 6 decades without getting scratched, dented, or chewed up by a vending machine. That alone is a miracle. So, how do you know if your 1967 penny is a gold mine? Doubling on Lincoln's face and letters, check, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." If they look doubled, you might be onto something. The details on Lincoln's hair and coat should be crisp and clear. The fewer scratches and dings, the better. If it looks like it just came out of the mint, you're in luck. Some rare 1967 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they might be slightly heavier or lighter than a normal penny. So, why is this coin worth $3 million today? Well, rare error coins are like fine wine. They get better and pricier with age. The demand for high-grade, rare pennies has skyrocketed, especially with collectors willing to pay big bucks for unique finds. A high-grade 1967 penny with a double die error is practically the holy grail of modern pennies. Collectors are constantly hunting for that next big rarity, and with the way the market is going, who knows? Maybe the next big coin to hit the jackpot is sitting in your couch cushions right now. Never overlook a penny, especially a 1967 one. It might just change your life. And let's be real, if you find one, don't just spend it on a soda. Get it checked, get it graded, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person cashing in on a life-changing coin. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on spotting valuable coins, hit that subscribe button. I post all the time about hidden treasures that could be sitting in your pocket right now. Also, leave a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? I'd love to hear your stories. Alright, folks, get ready for a wild ride. Because today we're talking about a penny, yes, a 1-cent coin, that is worth a jaw-dropping $3.1 million. That's right. Imagine buying a pack of gum with a penny and accidentally handing over a small fortune. The coin in question? A 2004 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And let me tell you, if you've got one of these bad boys lying around, you might want to hold off on that vending machine purchase. I remember when I first heard about a penny being worth millions. I laughed and thought, yeah right, and next you're going to tell me my old shoelaces are collectibles. But then I saw the proof, and let me tell you, I started digging through my couch cushions like a treasure hunter. So today, we're going to break down exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and what you should do if you find one. Stick around, because by the end of this, you might be a millionaire, at least on paper. First things first, what makes this 2004 penny so special? Well, let's start with the obvious. Most pennies from 2004 were minted in either Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S, for proof coins. But this particular coin is missing a mint mark altogether. That might not sound like a big deal, but trust me, in the world of coin collecting, missing details like that can turn an ordinary penny into a gold mine. Now, there's some mystery surrounding why these no mint mark pennies exist. Some believe it was an accidental error at the mint. Others think it was a rogue mint employee having a little too much fun with the press. Whatever the reason, this error makes the coin extremely rare. So rare, in fact, that only a few are known to exist. And rarity, my friends, is what makes collectors start throwing money around like they're in a bidding war at an auction house. So how do you know if you've got one? Good question. First, grab a magnifying glass, or if you're like me and your eyesight isn't what it used to be, a pair of those giant reading glasses that make you look like a mad scientist. Look carefully at the front of the penny, just below the date. If there's no little P D, or S sitting there, you might have something special. But wait, don't start celebrating just yet. We need to check a few more things. Condition matters. A beat-up, scratched-up penny might still be valuable, but if you've got one in pristine condition, well, that's where the big bucks come in. The highest graded versions of this coin, those in mint state condition, are the ones fetching over $3.1 million at auctions. So, if your penny looks like it's been through a washing machine, it's probably not hitting the $1 million mark. But hey, even a lower grade version could be worth a nice chunk of change. Now, let's talk about where to sell if you do have one. You don't want to just throw it up on eBay for 50 bucks and call it a day. No, no, no. You want to get it properly appraised by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts will certify your coin, give it an official grade, and help you get the best price possible. If you ever do find a valuable coin, don't clean it. I know it's tempting. You see a dirty old penny, and you think, let me just shine this up so it looks brand new. But in the coin world, cleaning a rare coin can actually decrease its value. It's like finding an old classic car, original condition is king. The 2004 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of the rarest and most valuable pennies out there. And if you happen to have one, you might just be sitting on a fortune. And if this has you diving into your piggy bank like a kid on allowance day, you're not alone. I once spent an entire weekend going through a giant jar of pennies, only to come out with a sore back and about $4 and change. But hey, you never know until you check, right? If you enjoyed this and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more secrets to share about coins worth money, collecting strategies, and how to spot hidden treasures in your spare change. All right, let's talk about a penny. Not just any penny, though. I'm talking about a 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny that is supposedly worth a jaw-dropping $3.2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A single penny, worth more than a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, or a lifetime supply of pizza. Now, before you go diving into your couch cushions like a treasure hunter, let's break this down. Could you actually have one of these rare pennies hiding in your pocket? What makes it so valuable? And is it time to cash in that old change jar? Stick with me because we're about to unravel this mystery with a little bit of history, a touch of humor, and a whole lot of coin collecting wisdom. First off, let's clear up what we mean by no mint mark. Normally, pennies made in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, which means they just look like any other regular penny. But here's the kicker. There's one specific 1986 penny out there that's different. Coin experts believe that this particular penny was a mint error, a one-of-a-kind fluke that never should have left the US Mint. It's like the Willy Wonka golden ticket of pennies. Only instead of free chocolate, you get enough cash to retire early. Now, let's get real. A penny is supposed to be worth, well, a penny. But in the world of numismatics, a fancy word for coin collecting, rarity, and demand drive up prices. If only one or a handful of a certain type of coin exists, collectors will throw money at it like it's the last steak on the grill at a barbecue. That's exactly what happened with the 1986 no mint mark penny. Someone, somewhere, found one, and collectors lost their minds. It was authenticated, deemed an absolute anomaly, and suddenly, this tiny copper coin was worth more than a Rolls-Royce. Now, let me tell you about the time I thought I had struck gold. A few years ago, I was rummaging through my grandpa's old coin collection, which was basically an old coffee can filled with random pennies. I had just learned about rare coins, so I was excited, thinking I was about to find something legendary. Lo and behold, I spotted a 1986 penny. No mint mark. My heart nearly exploded. I was already planning my dream vacation. A private island, a yacht, maybe even a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers. Then, I did what every responsible coin enthusiast does. I checked the details. Turns out, it was just a regular 1986 penny from Philadelphia. Worth exactly 1 cent. Yep. My dreams of wealth vanished faster than a pizza at a party. But that's the thrill of coin collecting. Every penny could be a hidden gem, and sometimes, just sometimes, you really do strike it rich. So, let's say you have a 1986 no mint mark penny. What should you do? Get a magnifying glass and look for any unusual features. If it looks slightly different from the average penny, it might be worth checking out. Some rare errors have a slightly different weight than standard pennies. A digital scale can help determine if it's an anomaly. Don't just take it to your local bank and ask if it's special. Find a reputable coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC To verify its value, if you're lucky enough to have the rare 1986 no mint mark penny, congrats. You just won the coin lottery. If not, don't worry. There are plenty of other valuable pennies out there waiting to be found. So, is there a 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $3.2 million? Maybe. Somewhere. If you find one, you better believe collectors will be lining up with briefcases full of cash. In the meantime, keep checking your change. You never know when a simple penny could turn into a fortune. And if you love learning about rare coins, hidden treasures, and coin collecting strategies that could put extra cash in your pocket, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss my next video on the rarest nickels out there. Now, go check your piggy banks. Who knows? You might be sitting on a gold mine. Hey folks, welcome back. Imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions for some spare change, and you pull out an old, beat-up penny. No big deal, right? Well, what if I told you that one little penny could be worth a life-changing $3.3 million? That's right. Today we're talking about the rare 1973 D. Lincoln penny that recently sold for that jaw-dropping amount. So, before you dump your change jar at the coin machine, stick around. This could be the best decision you ever make. Now, let me tell you a quick story. Years ago, I used to roll pennies with my grandfather. He'd sit there, sorting through each one like he was uncovering buried treasure. I used to think he was nuts, until one day, he handed me an old coin and said, "This might be worth something someday." If only I had listened. Turns out, one of those coins was worth way more than a pack of gum. And today, I'm making sure you don't make the same mistake I did. All right, let's dive into what makes this penny so special. The 1973 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, but here's the kicker. Not all of them were created equal. Most of these pennies were struck on copper planchets, which is totally normal. But a few rare ones were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from the 1960s. That's like accidentally finding a filet mignon in your fast food bag.so. How do you know if you have one of these golden, silver, tickets? A regular 1973 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. But if you've got one that's around 2.5 grams, you might just have a silver strike on your hands. Drop a normal penny on a hard surface, then drop your suspect coin. If it sounds higher-pitched, like a little chime, that's a good sign it could be silver. While most of these pennies are the classic copper color, the rare ones tend to have a slightly different, duller silver appearance. Not quite a dime's shine, but different from your average penny. Copper is not magnetic, but neither is silver. If your coin sticks to a magnet, sorry buddy, it's not the one. But if it passes the other tests, it's time for the real deal, professional grading. Now, let's talk money. Recently, one of these ultra-rare 1973 D pennies was authenticated by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and sold for a mind-blowing $3.3 million at auction. Imagine that, 1 cent turning into a mansion, a sports car, or an early retirement. Who knew pennies could be more valuable than some people's entire coin collections? But here's where it gets really fun. Even if you don't find the holy grail of pennies, a high-grade 1973 D penny in top condition can still be worth thousands. So, before you toss that jar of change, you might want to do a little treasure hunting of your own. Check your pennies. You never know what hidden gems you might be sitting on. And if you think searching through pocket change is boring, just remember, a tiny, overlooked penny could be the key to your dream vacation, a new house, or even early retirement. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more treasure hunting secrets to share. And who knows, the next millionaire penny might just be sitting in your change jar right now.